All right, let's talk about one of the most important inventions in human history, one you probably never even thought about. It's a work of genius hiding in plain sight, and it's literally holding our world together.
So, what are we talking about here? And no, it's not the microchip, it's not the engine. You got to think smaller. Much, much smaller, and way, way older.
Okay, to really get a handle on this, let's start with something you probably see every day. A car. We tend to think of it as one big machine, right? But it's actually thousands of individual parts all working together.
And what holds all those parts together? Well, inside your average car, there are roughly 3,500 screws and bolts, and every single one of them is absolutely crucial for its structure, its safety, everything.
Now let's scale that idea up, way up. Let's go from the road to the sky and take a look at one of the most incredible machines we've ever built, the iconic jumbo jet.
A single Boeing 747 has somewhere around 3 million fasteners holding it together. And yeah, the vast majority of those are super advanced screws and bolts, each one doing the incredible job of keeping that massive plane safely up in the air.
You know, it's not just about cars and planes. It's pretty much everything. Our furniture, our phones, the bridges we cross, the buildings we work in. We're living in a world that is fundamentally built on and held together by the humble screw.
So, what's the secret? What makes this little thing so incredibly powerful? To really get it, we need to dive into the physics, which, believe it or not, is this beautiful, elegant, and really ancient idea.
The genius of the screw is just how simple it is. Okay, so what is a screw really? It's just a ramp, an inclined plane. That's it. You just take that ramp and you wrap it around a cylinder. That spiral you see, the threads, that's just a ramp coiled up. And that's what gives the screw its superpower, something called mechanical advantage. Because that slope is so gentle, it means the little bit of effort you use to turn a screwdriver gets converted or multiplied into this massive, massive clamping force pulling things together.
And this idea, it's not new, not by a long shot. We're talking ancient. The whole concept of the helix has been around for thousands of years. Think about it. Archimedes used a giant one to lift water. The Romans used screw presses to get oil from olives. And way later, Gutenberg's printing press, the machine that changed the world, it was built around a giant screw.
But here's the catch. For most of its history, the screw had this one huge problem. And this one flaw basically stopped it from kicking off the industrial age.
So what was the problem? Well, up until the 1800s, every single screw on the planet was handmade. A craftsman would sit there and file the threads by hand, which means the nut you made for one bolt would only fit that one bolt. It wouldn't fit any other bolt in the entire world. They were total one-of-a-kinds.
Just think about the difference that makes. Before, if a bolt broke on your machine, you couldn't just grab another one. You had to get a craftsman to make a whole new custom part. Repairs were a total nightmare. Mass production? Forget about it. But afterwards, once parts became interchangeable, suddenly you could fix things fast. And the whole idea of an assembly line, well, that became possible.
Now, this didn't just happen. First, we had to invent machines like the screw-cutting lathe that could make precise, identical threads. But the real aha moment, the thing that changed everything, came from an engineer named Joseph Whitworth. He had this radical idea. What if we all just agreed to make our screw threads the exact same way? A single, universal standard.
And honestly, that is the key to this whole story. The invention of the screw was brilliant, sure, but it was ancient. It was the standardization of the screw, that simple agreement to make them all the same, that really built the modern world we live in today.
So where does that leave us today? Well, that single standardized hero has evolved into this huge, incredible family of specialized fasteners for, well, everything. I mean, seriously, there's a screw for just about anything you can think of. You've got these teeny tiny micro screws inside your smartphone. There are special biocompatible screws that surgeons use to put bones back together, and then you have these monster bolts that literally hold skyscrapers down to their foundations. And the scale we're talking about is just mind-blowing. The exact same principle, that ramp wrapped around a core, works for a screw in a watch that's barely 0.5 millimeter across, all the way up to a bolt on a giant wind turbine that's 1.5 meters long. So when you boil it all down, the story of the screw is really about how one simple, elegant idea, once it was standardized, became the invisible foundation for pretty much all of our technology. It's the bedrock of our modern society. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other hidden masterpieces are out there,
hiding in plain sight, just quietly holding our world together. What other little bits of genius are we completely taking for granted every single day?